Hello, everybody. It's me. I am back. It's been 1 week since I had my first testosterone shot. Um, there really haven't been any changes, which is not surprising. I didn't think anything was going to happen this first week. Maybe I think I noticed like a little bit of an uptick in my libido and maybe some more acne happening. But as I said in my initial video, I have an acne issue as it is. So that might just be a me thing. A little bit about how I feel otherwise right now. So today is August 26th, 2020. I'm not sure if you're aware of current events right now or not, but I live in Wisconsin in the States. So some really heavy shit is going down right now in the state. So it's really, really weighing me down. And it's frustrating that I feel like in this instance, I can't really act because of my job hours and stuff like that. I mean, of course, I've written emails and made calls, but before I moved up here, I was actively participating as a medic at protests just to be available if somebody were to get injured. And I wish I could do that right now. And I kind of feel bad that I'm not able to help more. But anyway, beyond that, we'll talk about some of the epiphanies that I have had since I started testosterone, and really since I admitted to myself that I was trans. I did have kind of a funny moment the other day. I'm sorry, my camera is all jostling around, but I want to hold it because my lighting is really bad in the room right now. ADHD. So, funny transition things. I was talking to my husband about going to Pride and the fact that I went last year. So, I went last year to Pride by myself, mainly because the main reason I was there was to sit at a booth and collect signatures for NARAL. They are partnered with Planned Parenthood, and they help do really cool stuff for Planned Parenthood and make sure that anti-abortion laws don't get passed. I was in Ohio, so Ohio in 2019 was trying to do some really shady shit with as far as like defunding Planned Parenthood and that sort of thing. So there was a lot of problems, and spent a lot of time trying to help out in that area. But aside from that, after I did my volunteer hours, I decided to walk around Pride because I was kind of having a good time, and this is when I really started to get serious about my self-exploration. I came upon a stand where there were these two sweet, like middle-aged older ladies that were selling binders. They had a little dressing room set up in the back. I thought the burps, so if I'm like over here in the corner, it's fine. But these ladies were sitting there looking at me, and they were like, "Oh, can we help you with anything?" And I'm like, "No, I'm fine, just looking." They're like, "Okay." So I continued to look around. I started to get a little bit closer, and I'm looking at the different clasps on the binders and feeling the material. And they're like, "Are you sure you don't want to try one on?" I'm like, "Fine, thank you though." And then they're just like looking at me like this, like they like just so understanding, just like they knew what was going on. It's like, you're not allowed to be understanding right now because I don't understand what I'm going through right now. Of course, I didn't say that because they were really sweet, but it was just, it's funny to look back on that and to see that other people could see, me before I could. Another thing that I realized is this kind of is into the not safe for work territory, or children, but when I started getting into looking at pornographic images, like when I was younger and stuff, the ones that always, I guess, I preferred if I was looking at it was gay porn. And I want to clarify that it was not lesbian porn. It was gay, men on men porn. And like not even with like any other women involved. And it always like made me like, why am I so into this? Like there's nobody with my body parts involved in that whole situation. But as it turns out, I probably was just wanting to be a man, having sex with a man. Maybe not quite a man myself, but anyway, that was my thought process. It was kind of funny because it was like a light bulb went off in my head when that came to my attention the other day. So I thought I would share. Other things I wanted to talk about were coming out. So I am trying to decide on when I'm going to come out, because socially, the only people that know that I am starting a medical transition is my doctor, my husband, and one of my best friends. Coming out even to them was terrifying. The phone call to make the appointment with my doctor was horrifying. Like, I probably sounded something like this, like, hello, how can we help you today? Like, yes, I'm calling to make an appointment for myself. Okay, is it anything urgent? No. Alrighty, so it looks like the doctor's going to be out of town next week. How about the week after that? Okay, that sounds good to me. She's like, all right, so I just need just a little note of what the visit is going to be about, so he can anticipate, how long that the appointment needs to be. And I was like, well, I am considering going on hormone replacement therapy. And she's like, oh, that's okay, awesome. And it's like, she's so sweet about it, but I'm just like, shrinking into my seat, like terrifying. And then, oh God, telling my husband. So initially I wrote a letter, and like I kept having to go back and revise the letter because I felt like I was leaving out information that was going to kind of, make things more vague than they needed to be. Like I had the letter written, and actually I will go, it's tucked under my side of the bed over here. So pull the shit out. Yeah. Had the letter written. Did I put his name on it? No, I didn't. Yeah. See? Like, oh, you can't see, it's backwards. Here is something. Or no, there is something on my mind. Just couldn't do words out loud to say it. Yeah, that's what I wrote. And then inside, of course, is like the final draft that actually didn't end up being the final draft because what ended up happening is I hid it under the bed and I laid down, and my husband came in to rub my back because I was going to sleep, and because he is just an awesome human being and the greatest husband ever. He rubs my back every night, almost. Super fucking cool. So glad he's my person. And as he's rubbing my back, I'm like, so, you know how I've said that I don't really feel like being a woman or a man sometimes? He's like, yeah. Like, you know how I usually dress and present myself relatively androgynously? And he's like, yeah. And like at this point, I pretty much just buried my face in the pillow and just started spilling my guts about everything and like crying and crying and crying and crying. I think I cried the entire time I was telling him about this stuff. Oh God. And it wasn't like a bawling sad kind of way. It was just really overwhelming, especially because he was so supportive. He did have questions. I mean, like, shit, he's my spouse of 7 years, and I'm like, hey, so I don't like my body parts and my gender. Like, anybody's gonna have questions, but he was really good about the questions that he asked, and we talked about it, and he's just been super supportive ever since. And I'm going to interview him at some point. I asked him about doing it today, but he's actually like super fucking pissed at the government right now, so he felt like today wasn't a good day to do that. So it will come in the future at some point. But yeah, coming out to him was really fucking hard for me. But I did it. And then I came out to my friend over text message, and like, she has seen me question those sorts of things before, so it wasn't a big surprise. But even still, I was still anxious about it. I sent her like walls and walls and walls of text and information. And she's just like, okay, cool. It's still you, just with some different parts and bits and stuff. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, cool, okay. But, you know, since I am starting at a new school and I am in a position where I can kind of have a clean slate, so to speak, like coming out socially here where nobody knows me doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I feel like it's not a huge deal to just be out here. But like, the issue is when I think about coming out on social media and to the other people that I know in my life and that have known me for a long period of time, for some reason I am absolutely petrified of doing that. And I think that probably stems from the way that people around me perceived trans people while I was growing up and in the area that I grew up, and the fact that I have heard my parents say transphobic things with relative frequency. So even though I'm 31 fucking years old, it still scares me that, you know, my parents will probably not accept that about me. We already have a really rocky relationship as it is. So I don't know. I'm just really anxious about putting that into the mix as well. Which honestly, it shouldn't be a fucking surprise to them. They were the first people that I told I was questioning my gender back before I even knew what questioning my gender was. Like, I always wanted my hair cut short. I always told them that I wanted to be a boy. Like, this should not be a surprise. But yeah, I think I'm going to do a video. And I thought initially that I wanted to come out at Pride during Pride Month 2021. But that's like almost a year from now. And at that point in my testosterone treatment, there's going to be some definite changes. Like, people are going to notice things because I post a lot of pictures of me and my husband and my kids on social media. And I talk to people on the phone. My voice is going to change. So that's my biggest issue right now with that time, is that I feel like it's going to be too late. I'm not going to have time to, I'm not going to be able to come out properly the way that I want to, because people are going to guess or suspect stuff by then and be questioning things by then. And I don't want to do this coming out one person at a time. Like, I do not have the mental energy for that. I just don't. I want to get it all out, get it all over with once, like rip it off like a band-aid. So that's what I'm going to do. My second option, as far as timing goes, is to come out on National Coming Out Day, which is October 11th. That would give me right around September, October, like not quite 2 months on T, which there probably won't really be many changes at that point yet, even still. So I don't know. I'm not sure at what point I do want to come out. I'm not sure if it, I mean, maybe I'll just do it at a random date. I don't know yet. We'll see how I feel the further that I get along in my transition. But I do know that I want to do it on a video, and I just want to post that shit on social media and be done with it, because anybody that I'm friends with and that really matters is on like my Facebook and stuff. So that would probably be the best way to just like do it all at once and like tag specific people, like closer friends that I haven't told yet, or and especially my parents and my brother. Though my brother does know that I was questioning it this as recently as this past year. He didn't really say anything. I feel like it's because maybe he didn't know what to say. I'm hoping that that's the only reason. My brother doesn't strike me as the type of person to discriminate against trans people. He's very open-minded, so I don't think that'll be an issue. But yeah, I guess we'll find out, right? But anyway, maybe next week my husband will feel a little more up to being on camera, and we can do the whole interviewing him about how he felt as I came out to him, and, you know, once I made the decision to go on hormone therapy, and just about some of the conversations that we've had since then, and you know, things like that. I feel like people are probably interested in how, you know, that's going to work out. That's probably a fear of some, you know, trans people coming out to their cis hetero partner. Like, shit, that was a huge fear for me. But it ended up coming out well in this particular instance. So yeah, we'll do some stuff like that. Anyways, wish you guys the best. Stay well, stay healthy, stay safe, take care of yourselves, be kind. I love you. See you next week.